Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the government has launched a request for proposals document encouraging developers from all over the world to help in the establishment of green hydrogen energy in the country. Bidders now have until the 16th of September to submit their ideas. Developers from countries like Austria have already approached the government with promises to manufacture renewable fuels locally, focusing on wind and solar. Our Presidential Economic Advisor, James Mnyupe, now joins me in studio with more on this. James, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Good morning, Dishishi. Thanks for having me. Always good to be back.
I think a good place to start this discussion would be the importance in Namibia making this move towards green energy.
Absolutely. And so, Dishishi, this is a very unique opportunity for Namibia, given our natural endowments, right? Because we have this great solar and the wind resource, but also we have the space, and of course we have a coast.
Yes.
We're very well positioned to meaningfully contribute to what is now becoming a very sort of powerful global drive to reduce emissions. And that's really where a lot of this drive is coming from. I think on Monday, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released another report saying, look, human activity is unequivocal. It's the first time they're using such a strong word. It's unequivocally responsible for the rise in temperatures around the world. And of course, with those rises in temperatures, we are seeing a more frequent occurrence of extremely rare events, flooding, heat waves, etc.
Yes.
And with Namibia being extremely susceptible to that because of our drought, and our significant reliance on hydroelectricity, for example, right? Obviously, the drought impacts us from an agricultural perspective, but also from an electricity perspective. It's absolutely incumbent upon us to begin to do something about it in Africa, lead by example, and of course, make the most of our God-given talents.
Very much so. I mean, we continue to see the harm that fossil fuels, continue to do onto the planet.
Absolutely.
And it's really not about me and you who are here today, but really about future generations to come as well.
100%.
Let's take a look at the prospects, of this project. You're looking at what, $6 billion US dollars in foreign direct investment. That translates to what, 70, 80 billion Namibian dollars. You're looking at more than 800 million US dollars. So that translates to what, 11 billion Namibian dollars, somewhere there, in prospective revenues to be generated. Just what is being done in the meantime to raise awareness about this project?
Well, Ndishishi, as you know, if you want to raise awareness about anything, you come to Good Morning Namibia. So here I am.
Great to have you here always. Yeah.
Absolutely. But of course, we're trying to be extremely holistic about this. So, we really started being approached by global developers already in September last year to talk about Namibia's latent potential to do this. Yeah. We studied the material, and of course, we discussed it with the president, and really it culminated in this vision that we're calling the Southern Corridor Development Initiative that we can speak in a little bit more detail later on. Yeah. But of course, since then, we've launched it in our Harambee Prosperity Plan. So a lot of people are really beginning to become excited about the idea now, but it was already launched. It was included in HPP2 on the 18th of March. Yeah. From there, we have actually gone abroad as well. We did about an 8 or 9 day visit to Europe. We worked with extremely hardworking commercial counselors in the Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and of course in Germany as well. And so a lot of the interest now you're seeing in some of the developers was raised from that awareness campaign. And then of course we came back home. Yep. We made sure that, the RFP was ready just in time for His Excellency's 80th birthday. And so you can see there's a combination of local awareness raising and international awareness raising. And of course, going forward, we're planning an interesting delivery at the United Nations General Assembly to raise awareness of Namibia's opportunity to make a difference on an international panel. COP26 Glasgow, September in October, November. We're definitely going. And then of course Namibia, for the first time, at least to my knowledge, has been invited to the World Economic Forum in Davos 2022. Now there isn't a bigger world stage from a commercial and even an intergovernmental perspective, arguably other than the UN, than Davos. And so we're preparing hard, and we're inviting Namibian citizens and companies to join us as we look to raise awareness, not for the sake of awareness, but also for the sake of really raising FDI and making Namibia an attractive investment destination.
Fantastic. James, I must really commend you on last week's gift to the president. You know, I personally thought it was a very suiting gift and also just well in time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, thanks a lot, Ndishishi. It was a hell of a team effort, I can tell you that, because while a lot of us sort of did a lot of the groundwork, you know, you really had to work hand in hand with cabinet. And really, I must say, all the ministers came to the floor. We had to work extremely hard and in a very well coordinated manner. And of course, the Attorney General just had to tie all of the ambitions that we were housing in a legally robust manner. And so the Attorney General's office, really, they worked weekends, literally Saturday, Sunday. We were calling each other at 9 o'clock at night. And so for me, it is a testament that public servants can and actually do work hard to serve our people. And I'm extremely proud to be a part of that team now.
Fantastic. The request for proposals is out. Let's quickly unpack this document and what you necessarily aim to achieve with it here.
Absolutely. Ndishishi, I can't unpack too much because each of those documents is worth 50,000 Namibian dollars. We were hoping to maybe raise 150, maybe 200,000 bucks because we knew of 3, 4, 5 serious developers. But to date, we've actually already raised 450,000 Namibian dollars, and there's a waiting list of about 18 other applicants as well. So it just shows how unique and well-placed Namibia is to actually make a difference here. But you know, within the document, really, what we're saying to developers is we know that Namibia has world-class wind, solar, you know, the port, etc. But we knew the wind, the world-class wind resource, was the hardest to unlock, because it's sat in the Spiergebied National Park. And so the RFP document then goes and says the government is willing to avail access to land there to do feasibility studies. And so it focuses on the provision of access for that land for feasibility studies and or future sort of generation projects. But it also sort of is accompanied by annexures, and one of them is an all-of-government support letter that says that the Namibian government is aware that this is an extremely important, but also an extremely new area of science and economic activity, and that we will be willing to support the developers from every angle. So that's a key part of it. And then, of course, we're welcoming them to now formally concretize this $6 billion of FDI and the $800 million of revenue into concrete business plans. And then, of course, we will have to measure these proposals in one way or another to try and pick one winner or two winners in the most transparent way possible. And so an evaluation criteria is important there, and we'll talk about it a bit later, but it will have a business case aspect to it. We will be looking at the land use aspect of it. We will be looking at the social impact, and of course, as well as a financial assessment as well, and I can unpack that for people a bit later.
It's quite comprehensive in that respect. Just, I think the question here will also be, what opportunities is there for local buy-in?
Yeah, no, locals really, we really have to wake up. Again, we put it in HPP2. Some people tore the document, others haven't read it. But there's a lot of detail in HPP2 on how this particular opportunity could be unraveled for Namibians. Practically speaking, that social impact perspective actually talks to, we will be assessing these proposals for how much local content do they have. What services or goods do you expect to be consuming from local SMEs? That will count in your favor. What local jobs are you going to create? Permanent, temporary, etc. But also, what is the level of earnings for those jobs, right, that you foresee? So, because, we don't want just very low earning jobs that make people insecure, So that's another one. Another one would be, what sort of local taxes or even equity shareholding do you have for the government in mind? And so all those elements are us trying to invite the developers to involve Namibia as a country, from government all the way to SMEs, even to students. As you know, as we announced on the president's birthday, we're building scholarship programs. And so these developers could very well work with the German government and the Namibian government to put in place an environment where local students can learn more about this science and more meaningfully participate in the value chain.
Fantastic. 16th September is the date on which the request for proposals lapses. What follows thereafter?
Oh man, after that, it's it's probably the toughest part of this journey. Yeah. Then we start evaluating, right? Then we start evaluating. And again, if we receive a lot of evaluations, we really going to need to work very hard, because we are trying to go to COP26 with results. And so that means between 16 September and 1 November, we need to evaluate the proposals, adjudicate, score them, and obviously choose a winner. And again, because our president believes in systems, institutions, and processes, whatever processes we use for that evaluation need to be robust, need to be able to withstand scrutiny. And so we've actually decided, for example, that we are going to be bringing in independent international experts and or consultants to help us with the review process. So it won't be just James and Dishishi sort of sitting there with a calculator. We're looking to absolutely involve some people maybe from the World Bank, McKinsey, Hatch. We've actually reached out to the IEA, IRENA as well. Fantastic. And so we'll put together a panel of 5 or 6 experts that will help us adjudicate that process, which obviously we're very much looking forward to as well.
Fantastic. James, unfortunately, we could talk about this the whole day, and the biggest problem with Good Morning Namibia is that we never have enough time for any interviews. Yeah. But just when you look at some of the other projects in the pipeline, the Lutzo's Green Hydrogen Project, the Green Hydrogen Hub in the Irongo region, how does all of this tie together? And perhaps you can just couple it with your final remarks as well this morning.
Absolutely. This Green Hydrogen Project is really an enabler. It's almost a magnet. And a lot of the other projects, I would argue, if somebody is looking to see what else is out there, go to HPP2. We've put them in there, and this is a part of HPP2. Give you a practical example. There'll be a rail project going into the Northern Cape that could be unlocked by this. We would be looking to impact, change, and develop the Luderitz port. That will be, changed. Neckartal, we'd be looking to build a farm there, with a green scheme, maybe make our own local fertilizer. That will be a big project. The port in Walvis Bay could change significantly as well. We might be building liquid bulk terminals. So all of these are examples of supplementary projects or complementary projects as well that we'll be looking to launch. We might even go all the way up to the Kunene and do a feasibility study there as well. But this is the concept of when we looked at the SCDI, the Southern Corridor Development Initiative, it was the fact that all of these projects can be intertwined and interlinked. And one very special one, we hope to be able to announce soon. In the vision of the SCDI, we spoke about green steel. We think we can make a green metal in the south, and perhaps it could be green zinc. Yes. We would probably be the first African country to do that. Wouldn't that be something, Dishishi, if we can pull that one off?
Absolutely. And all of this, just before we let you go,
sure.
The big question would be, what is the timeline for this? When can we envision, or when can we expect a fully fledged, green energy in Namibia?
Yesterday. There's no time. And really, when you read the IPCC and you listen to what the scientists are saying, this is not a 10-year gig. This is you should have been doing this yesterday and you're not doing it. So to give you an example, a big part of this is also, using sustainable financing, green bonds. We issued a green or sustainable bond as Namibia on the NASDAQ in June. Yeah. We have IPPs already using renewable energy in Namibia today. Yeah. So this is yesterday, wind energy yesterday. Converting it, and by the way, power to X merely means taking electricity or renewable electricity and converting it to a chemical, methane, a gas. So X means anything.
Any industry, any sector.
Exactly. Any sort of a synthetic molecule, that sort of thing. Yeah. So that's maybe the new thing. Maybe we're not doing that. But we would love to be, we already have a proposal for a 50 million euro pilot plant to happen in the Irongo region, like in the next few months. So we would love to be beginning with some pilot plants sometime next year, Dishishi, but it's really yesterday. And that's why as a government, we think this is such an important part of our economic recovery plan. Yes. And if you think about it, we're trying to do that holistically. We know agriculture will be impacted by climate change.
Yeah.
This is a solution for that. We know that we can raise green bonds. This is a solution for that. And of course, we know that Chile raised 40% of their FDI from renewable energy. So why not us?
The opportunities are really limitless here. James,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being here this morning. All the best with this daunting task. And I'm sure you'll execute it here.
Dishishi, thank you so much. We look forward to it.
There you have it. Economic advisor to the president, James Mnyupe, talking to us this morning about the envisioned green hydrogen project of Namibia. The requests for proposals are out up until the 16th of September. And as you heard there, the opportunities for foreigners and locals are limitless. If you would like to hear more, learn more about this initiative, visit that's www.gh2namibia.com. And of course, you can acquaint yourself with what this project is all about. To stay with us.